Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to read part of C.W. Hobley's book, Bantu Beliefs and Magic, where he tells us that the Europeans, the British in particular, at some point did come to believe in some of the things that especially the AKAMBA believed in. And some of them did say that they experienced some of the things that the AKAMBA will say you will experience if you did some things. Now, in particular, the AKAMBA believed that you are not supposed to go close to the sacrificial or the place to sacrifice the trees that they had that they used to use for sacrifice. You were not supposed to go there at night. At least some of them. For some of them, you'll go because it does mention that, for example, when somebody did brew some beer or some wine, they will take it at maybe in the evening or very early in the morning, and I think mostly in the evening, and pour some of it at some altar and tell the spirits that that's your portion, so don't come into the village and disturb us while we drink. Of course, they are Kikuyu. Every time they drink, they pour some onto the ground as giving the ancestors their portion of the drink. So he says that one of the things that the AKAMBA will not do is to go at night to the trees that were for sacrifice. And if you went there at night, you will be hit by rocks. They used to say that used to happen, which was like a story to some people. Even today, many people will be like, that's just a story, fantasy kinda. But Hobley says there are Europeans who told him that, and they did not know about this practice, but they build houses near these trees, and they will hear rocks hitting their houses at night. And this is what he says. The Kamba believe that the spirits like to haunt certain sacred fig trees is very widespread, and there is one factor connected with it, which is common to the whole area in which the belief is found, and that is that sacrilegious trespassers in sacred grove are assailed by showers of missiles. Such incidents are often alleged to occur in India. Apart from the native superstition, the writer has even heard of two examples in East Africa, where European colonists who had no knowledge of these beliefs but had built in the vicinity of the sacred victories asserted that they were periodically disturbed at night by stones thrown on the roofs of their houses. So he mentioned something that I've talked about in another video when talking about these sacred trees, that these sacred trees were the fig tree in particular, the different species of it, are treated to be very sacred, not only in Africa, in East Africa, but even in India and ancient Egypt and very many other parts of the world, which I've said is very confusing and perplexing. That how did it happen that different societies came to believe that these trees are very sacred? And so it says that there are similar stories in India, and this says in East Africa it did have stories of two Europeans at least who told him that they build houses near these trees and they will hear rocks falling on the roofs of their houses. In Phil Robinson's well-known book In My Indian Garden, it is stated that in the Burma to this day, the government pays a fee called murung to the headmen of a certain tract for appeasing the manes of their ancestors lodged in the old sal trees. So a similar practice, similar belief system in India, the Indian subcontinent, which I find to be very interesting. Robertson Smith also quotes an old authority to the effect that fig, carob, and sycamore trees are haunted by devils. So the Europeans, at least some of them, did come to believe that these things happened. It's hard to explain what was actually happening in these situations. We'll never know for sure because these are reported incidences. Maybe there were things that were happening, or maybe they were told by the locals these things happen and it got into their heads and they started believing. We'll never know for sure. In life, there are so many things that we'll never know for sure what they are. Those are my random thoughts.